Guys, okay, so I made the first video concerning denial of service attacks, and I explained a little bit about the ping attack, which was a more outdated denial of service attack attempt or method, right? So what I wanted to explain today was it's sort of like a continuation to the previous video, in the sense that I want to explain a denial of service attack and how it affects websites, because a lot of the times you hear of hackers attacking websites, and you always hear the term denial of service attack. So I'll try to make it as simple as possible, but it's going to be a little bit technical as well. So if you do actually have issues understanding it, you could always comment on the video and ask, and as long as a lot of people request a better explanation in terms of a simple explanation, I could also do that. Alright, so I'll catch you soon. I'm flipping over to the whiteboard. Alright, cool. So today we're talking about Webserver DOS attacks. Now, each website, I should probably start off with each website. When you try to access a website, you use the TCP protocol, right? So you could remember that TCP protocol is used, and also the web server is able to understand the HTTP protocol. Alright, so that doesn't really say much. I just wanted to explain that the HTTP protocol happens on Tcp Port 8. And to explain what port 80, sorry. So to explain what a TCP port is, each computer has a limited amount of TCP ports. I believe it's 65,535 ports, the maximum a computer is able to handle. And what these ports are basically, they're like virtual pipes. So once you are connected to the network, and let's just say, for example, you have a computer. Let's call this computer A. Right, so say you have this computer. This computer has a network card. Let's say this is the network card here. On the software side of things, this network card has 65,535 ports. And these, as I say, are virtual. They're not entirely real. They're made up. So this one network has ports, and I'm just drawing this. So this is port 1, port 2, port 3, port 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 65,535. And each port can listen for connections, and that's how a web server works. So a web server, for example, let's erase this very quickly. It's really hard to hold a camera and explain all this stuff at the same time, but I'm trying my best. Yeah. Okay, so a web server, let's say we have a web server. This is our web server, and let's call the web server W. Right, so a web server has an initial port open, let's say that, and that is port 80 by default. So 80 is the HTTP port. That's why your browser uses this sort of // because it's at the HTTP protocol. Alright. So all connections, so let's say we have clients here. This is client A, client B, client C. All these are people trying to access the website. They will connect to port 80. So client A will connect to port 80, and then a new port will open up. Let's say normally it's a random port. Let's say this port is 10,000. So it connects to 80 but responds with port 10,000 and returns back the data to A. And what that process is really when you access a page. So let's say when we go to www.google.com, it connects to the web server on port 80. The web server responds back on another port back to A. And it responds with the web page, and that's how you get the web page. And that happens for B. Another port will open. C, it goes to port 80, and another port will open again. So multiple ports are open because multiple clients are trying to access the web information, the website. And what ends up happening in a denial of service attack is that multiple clients, so let's say D, E, F, and let's say you had 65,535 clients trying to access the web server. What would happen is it would end up using up all the ports. Think of it that way. So the web server will stop answering to anybody higher than 65,535, and that is basically a denial of service attack. It is considered an attack when it is false. You know, the clients are false clients. Now, if it's a legitimate amount of clients, then it's simply that the web server becomes busy. You don't consider that really an attack, because it's not like somebody who's actually attacking you. It's just that the web server cannot handle more than those connections. And this is still something that can happen in today's world. This attack is very simple to accomplish if you have enough resources. Just a simple TCP connection will use up the ports on the web server, and thus it's quite simple to even code an application to make TCP connections, multiple TCP connections to a web server. Of course, nowadays web servers have mechanisms in place, as well as the firewalls, to rate limit how many clients can connect at one point in time, and how many connections are open for a single client. But still, it happens, and this is technically what a DOS attack, a simple web server DOS attack does. And I'll probably explain a little bit in terms of, this is considered a denial of service attack, but it's also more explained or more described as a distributed denial of service attack. And why do you put the distributed there? The distributed really means that there are multiple computers involved. So if it was a denial of service attack, generally it would be one computer. A distributed denial of service attack is where multiple computers work together to attack a specific service. Now, as I said, just to recap, so if multiple fake clients are connecting to the web server and using up the web server resources, then the web server doesn't have time to take your request. So what you get is a denial of service. You don't get the service you want, and that is the whole idea behind denial of service attack. So I hope this helped. I hope that you will watch more of my videos and subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you very much. Bye.